And then, one beautiful day, all the tingly people decided to get together and give a big hug and hello to the rest of the world. Hello, this is Emma, and this is ASMRtists of Great Britain, Volume 2.
How to be British, how to be the best of British, and how to sound royal. And that is to do with the way that you speak, and not just what you say. Such unusual find.
Towel trying to escape there.
My deepest affection and filled. His name was Edward Bowlby. And he changed the way that we think about our entity, in particular, it's really soft, isn't it?
Then, moving on to our location correspondent, and lastly, finishing.
Amazing.
Everyone at the same time.
No, this is twice the teeth. English clean, white, fresh. Breath. You can also use minty, dentist brush, Yorkshire tea. Then the hair.
Now, tea, the cornerstone of Great Britain. This might surprise you, but tea is actually more popular than coffee and is the second most consumed liquid on the planet, only next to water, which, as far as I'm concerned, means it's the most popular drink. There are many countries that are very fond of tea. Turkey is an example. Great Britain and also Ireland are huge, huge lovers. But the history of tea is really quite interesting, and again, Great Britain stands at the very center of tea and its mentionings through history. In fact, in around 1950, 1/3 of all tea in the entire world was sold via the London Tea Exchange. And while black tea is by far and away the most prominent kind of tea in somewhere like Britain, there are actually 4 main tea types. Actually, there's 5. We won't count pour because it's a fermented tea that I don't think it's considered mainstream. But before we even go any further than that, tea all comes from the same plant. This might again surprise you a little bit. Camellia sinensis. Camellia sinensis. That's the name of the plant where all tea leaves in the world come from Camellia sinensis. If it isn't Camellia sinensis, you're not drinking tea, you're drinking a tisane. It's a little tip for you there. Now, the 4 types that I mentioned, we have white tea, black tea, oolong, and green tea. Again, black tea is by far and away the most popular in Great Britain, and Great Britain has always had a fascination and a very deep connection with tea, not only via the London Tea Exchange, but it was the Lady Bedford that brought us afternoon tea. I think in around 1760, maybe 1750. She was a little bit peckish between lunch and dinner, the second and third meal of the day, and she decided, maybe we could have a spot of tea and some cakes. And so the great British tradition of the afternoon tea was born. Lady Bedford. We have her to thank for, again, another cornerstone in British history. Now, before we go any further, I think we should wet the whistle a little bit. And there are some very well established rules when consuming and preparing tea. For example, the teapot. The teapot for brewing tea should always be porcelain or china and white. And again, the reason for this is because of the flavor produced by a white teapot as opposed to a red teapot, as an example. Subtle changes, but there would absolutely be a difference. Next, just because something is in a tea bag doesn't mean it's any less tasty or less impressive than tea leaves. Just simply brewing tea leaves. Some people are a little bit condescending and a little bit judgmental when they see people drinking tea from a tea bag and talking about how much they enjoy it. Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Free tea leaves. There's very little difference from tea in a tea bag. Now, we've been brewing tea from tea bags since about 1889, I think. There's a little bit of contention about who invented the tea bag, but there's a patent submitted by two ladies, I think in 1889, although it's attributed to an American gentleman, I think in the early 20th century. But regardless, what we are here to do is to sample some delicious tea, our own exclusively grown tea. It's a black tea. It's gentle. There's no acidity. It's welcoming. And more than that, it's comforting. Regardless of where you are in the world, no nation responds to bad news the way the Brits do. If you were in America and you received some bad news, maybe you were at home and you found out you're losing your job, you found out you failed an exam, your response would be predictable and very typical. You'd be worried, you'd feel anxious, maybe you pace up and down. In Britain, there's only one response to bad news in the household, and that is put on the kettle. Let's have a cuppa. Having a cuppa is, again, the very center of the British household, and as a Brit myself, something I'm very, very proud of. Tea is a beautiful drink. It's full of antioxidants. It's comforting to drink, and it tastes wonderful. But I think before we run out of time, let's get some tea drunk. Use a white teapot. Second rule, make sure your water isn't hard. Hard water tends to leave a scummy, kind of scummy chemical trail at the top of your cup. You don't want hard water. Second rule, learning to steep. This is a fresh tea bag, one of our own design. As planted leaves. And plants are grown exclusively for us. Water should always be boiling, 100 degrees, nothing less. You might find that when you're on a plane, tea has a way of tasting unpleasant or not like tea. It's because water boils at a much lower temperature in the air because of the pressure in the cabin. And unless tea is allowed to brew and infuse with boiled water, it isn't going to taste the same. You lose a lot of the tea's characteristics. Pop this in. And typically with a pot of tea, as large as this, you want 3, maybe even 4 tea bags. I'm going to use 3 because I don't like tea as strong as some people. Okay. My towel trying to escape there. Some boiling hot water. Tea bags 2 and 3. Good. Now, some people will rock their teapot. Personally, I think this is unnecessary. Unless you're in a hurry, of course. But I mentioned the word steeping earlier. Myself included, I'm guilty of boiling my kettle, getting my tea bag, pouring it in the cup, pouring the water, stirring, squeezing, taking the tea bag out, adding some splash of milk, whatever kind of milk, coconut, cows, doesn't matter. And you're done. The rule to steeping is a minimum of 4 minutes, up to and ideally 6 minutes steeping time. Now, if you were to add your tea bag to your water, stir, squeeze, remove it, compared to a 6-minute steep, your tea will be a lot stronger, but the flavor that comes with it is so much more intense. And I don't just mean it's a strong flavor, I mean the characteristics of the profile are far more complex. You're grabbing all of the tea's attributes over the 6 minutes instead of just the ready soluble. Okay? There really is a mountain of difference between a 2-minute steep and a 4 to 6 minute. Not to mention the amount of caffeine. Caffeine will probably be doubled, as well as the antioxidants. You're literally doubling the amount in the tea, letting it steep for the recommended time. And the recommended time hasn't come from myself. It actually comes from the British Industry of Standards. Yes, the British have a set of standards for preparing tea in the most optimal way. That's what it means to be British. Your tea. That is a perfect color for a black tea. Here, if you like some sugar, some milk, just let me know, okay? I'll pour myself a cup. Cheers.
Hello. I'm the ASMR psychologist. Now, today, I want to tell you about a very important British psychologist. His name was Edward Bowlby. and he changed the way that we think about our early experiences and the impact that they have on us. He developed a theory called attachment theory. An attachment is the bond between a parent and their child. And Edward Bowlby highlighted the long-term impact on our self-esteem and our emotional and social development of the quality of this attachment. So the moment that a baby is born, it begins to communicate its needs, and the quality of the attachment, of that baby's attachment, is dependent upon their parents' ability to meet their needs reliably and sensitively, making them feel safe and secure, confident to go out into the world and explore, knowing that they can return at any point for comfort and reassurance. Now, a good attachment, a secure attachment, is the biggest protection against emotional and mental health problems. And signs of a secure attachment include confidence and self-motivation, reaching academic and intellectual potential, good relationships, and the ability to cope with stress and frustration and anxiety. Now, an insecure attachment is the result of early experiences that are negative, unpredictable, inconsistent, neglectful, abusive. And an insecure attachment is the biggest risk factor for mental health and emotional problems. I'm going to take you through a quick quiz to help you to assess the quality of your attachment. But keep in mind, attachment isn't either one thing or another. It's not the case that it's either good or bad. Attachment exists on a continuum. So keep a mental note of how many yeses and nos you get, and then we'll talk a little bit afterwards about how to interpret the results. Okay, so question number 1. Do you find it difficult to ask for help? Do you find it difficult to manage your thoughts, emotions, and behaviours? Do you struggle to form positive relationships? Do you struggle to calm yourself down? Can you be both demanding and rejecting at the same time? Do you become quickly or disproportionately angry or upset with no clear triggers? Are you scared of being vulnerable and mask this by being highly controlling of others? Do you avoid getting close to others? You may appear withdrawn or disengaged. Do you daydream? and struggle to settle. Okay. Now, as you've probably guessed, the more yeses you've got, the more insecure your attachment, and the more at risk you will be of developing problems like anxiety, depression. The more you may struggle with anger, the more you may struggle in your relationships. So what do? You can't change the past, obviously, but we can change the impact that it has on us, and understanding the source of our problems is the most important place to start, because understanding places us in the strongest position to make change if we need to, because it is possible to provide yourself with what you haven't had and heal the wounds of the past. Now, I believe that ASMR mimics our earliest experiences of being cared for, and when combined with psychology, has the potential to help us repair those insecure attachments and move forward to a life where we can feel calmer and more confident and more fulfilled. Okay. So, I hope that was helpful. Thank you for joining me today. Hopefully, I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Oh, hello there. You're in to get a quick kilt fitting, aren't you, today? Yes. Well, I've chose the tartan that you requested, and I'll do quite a lot of measurements today for you, okay? So this is the tartan that you chose, and I'm just going to drape it over you. Okay, like that. Good. And I'm going to take some measurements now. My little sewing kit, because we need to do a little bit of alterations. I've got my book to write the measurements in. Okay, let's get started. all the main bear kills. That's nice. This bit again. Alright, and round here again. Just go around there. Right. Just a couple more. We'll have it ready Tuesday. Thank you for choosing the blueberry kilt job. So, and then we'll do that one again just to make sure. Just double check that. That's us finished now. I will have that kilt ready for you on Tuesday, okay? Thank you again for stopping in, and I'll see you again next time. Bye. Do you know, I don't think there's anything as fabulous as spending the day tasting the finest drinks when the weather is so cold and horrible outside. I suppose that is the perks of having staff. You know, you don't really have to move a muscle, and is just such a delightful way to live, don't you think? Well, I mean, you probably wouldn't know, would you? Bless you. Let me place this down. Now, I am very pleased that you decided to come to me, Margot, to help you with your little documentary about being British. And when I was thinking about what I could bring to the table, I was thinking, well, is there really anything that says Great Britain more than royalty? And you know what? I just don't think there is. You know, what is better than being royal? And I don't like to brag. You know me, I'm very humble. However, I do work with a lot of royal clients back at the tailors. We do have, as a family, quite a lot of good connections, and I thought it would be useful to you, the mere commoner, to learn a little bit about how to be more royal. Okay? Now, Jeffrey, my rather irritating brother, has actually been of some use, and he's got me one of these smartphones. Now, all the kids these days seem to be using them, so normally I just have people make calls for me, but thought I'd give it a go. And what I've done is I've made a little list here, okay? Now, I went onto the Google and I saw what people were recommending and obviously thought, no, Margot's advice is better. So, let's start from the top. Now, this one goes without saying, but to feel like a royal, you must look like a royal. And part of that is to stand up nice and straight. So it's all about posture. Now, you could be wearing, and I'm thinking specifically about you could be wearing quite a common outfit. However, if you stand up nice and straight, shoulders back, chin up as though you have books balancing on your head. Now, if you had gone to private school and been through proper private education, then you would have been taught all of this. And of course I attended ladies' finishing school as well, where you taught about elocution, how to walk, all of this. But, darlings, imagine you're being pulled with a string above your head. Instantly more royal. Instantly. Okay? So that is number one. Okay? Keeping up? Good, good. Now, speaking of posture, number two I've written down is that you must learn to sit with good posture as well. Now, you may be thinking, Margot. When I sit down, I simply just slump myself on the couch, eat all the food on top of my beer belly, and that's that. And I say to you, I say indeed, is that the royal way? No, it's not. So when you are sitting, imagine I'm sitting, okay, you want to simply sit as though you have a court of people in front of you. Okay, you need to sit with good posture, hold in that core, okay, chin nice and up, alright, and you simply just move like this, okay, there's very little movement, but you're just moving like this, okay? Okay, good, I'm glad you're following along. Now, number three. Getting out of a car is very important, okay? Now you may be thinking, Margot, what do you mean? Getting out of a car? Surely there's only one way to get out of a car. No. Now, ladies, this does apply especially to you, okay, and anybody who should like to wear a dress. But if you're wearing a dress, okay, you want to get out the car in a way that doesn't display anything more than the dress, okay? So you're going to simply close the legs, okay? And you're going to swivel, okay? Swivel. What you're not going to do is put one leg out first, revealing what you've had for lunch. You're simply just going to swivel, okay? And that is very important, the swivel, okay? I like to call it the royal swivel, okay? And if you want to be the best of British, you must learn how to swivel, okay? Good. I can see that you're, looking a little bit like, ooh, confused. Even you, Mr. Cameraman, I can tell, but still, you're doing well. Right, the next one. Dress with a class and elegance. That's it. Nice and simple. Now, look at what I'm wearing, okay? Observe. observed on it. We have the padded shoulders. Now, if you're going to wear jackets, okay, if you're going to wear a jacket, the jacket must be padded. And the reason for that is strong shoulders are expensive shoulders, okay? It also balances out the hips, creates a very strong silhouette, and it's just very classy. Necklines, if we are going with a low neckline, ladies, keep the length long, okay? One or the other, alright? You do not need to display everything, okay? And gentlemen, always wear a suit, okay? Please do not attend especially a formal gathering in jeans, okay? So dress with class and elegance. So simple. So simple. It's a good thing you've got me. It really is. It really is. Now, this does go without saying, but I know that I do have to say it just for a few of you. You must remain well groomed. Now, you may think, Marvin, what do you mean by that? And I'll tell you now. The teeth, clean, white, fresh. Breath, minty, dentist fresh. Okay. Then the hair, smooth, elegant, classy. Gentlemen, don't overgel. Now the rest of you must smell delightful. Ladies, imagine as though you walked through a garden of roses. Gentlemen, a strong, manly smell. Okay, we want to be well groomed and elegant at all times. Now, let me check the time. It's almost champagne o'clock, so I'll just leave you with a couple more. Now, what have I noted down? Let's have a little look, Now, this one is particularly important. Now, obviously, when I've been to many dinner parties with royals, there are 7 words that royals simply do not use, okay? And I don't really know if I should be sharing these with you, but I feel you would benefit, so why not? You listening? Good. So, we would say pardon. The royals actually use what? What? And you may think that's a bit odd, but it's true. Toilet. Now the royals would use the word lavatory. Excuse me. What? I need to use the lavatory. But of course. Dinner. And royals actually use lunch. It's true. It's true. Settee. The royals use actually quite a simple word. Sofa. Sofa. Would you like to sit on the sofa? Sweet. Royals do use the word dessert. They do. They do. And lastly, serviette. Royals actually prefer the term napkin. Much simpler. So it would be easy to use serviette. However, they use the word napkin. So that's all I'm saying. Now, let's finish with something that, again, I hold very dear to my heart, and I really do think is so important in how to be British, how to be the best of British, and how to sound royal. And that is to do with the way that you speak, and not just what you say. So you must pronunciate your words. You must speak clearly at all times and pronounce every single word perfectly. And you simply must not slur. I couldn't think of anything less British. Now, I hope those have been helpful to you. Alright? You're very welcome that I've taken time out of my very busy schedule, all my charity work as well. For girls who can't afford designer shoes. Anyway, I must go now, because it is nearly champagne o'clock. But I hope this has been of some use to you. And remember, Margot is always here to help you be a little bit more British. Alright? Okay, does it switch off itself? Oh, you're going to turn it off. Alright, shall I say goodbye? Okay. Bye-bye now. And remember that my services are here for you at a very small charge. Alright. Goodbye.
Welcome to the Antiques Roadshow. So, the first piece that we have here is a handbag. It is covered in these silver beads. At first glance, I would say maybe 1920s, but we'll take a closer look to see if we can work it out. So I have my little tracing tool here, and they are very decorative little beads, a mixture of different patterns. The handle is a metal handle, and it's also what fastens the bag. It opens like this. There is a little chain inside, it's also silver, so that it can be used as like a bag that you carry or a crossbody or shoulder. Looking at the fact that it has a pocket, I would say, and the beading, there's also beading around the top, little seed beads going around. They're very subtle, but it's those little details that make it more of a high-end bag from that time. I would say this is probably 1922, to be specific. It's the kind of bag that someone would have taken to a jazz club, which was very popular at that time. All of the embellishment makes me think that it was owned by someone quite wealthy. Going out socialising at prestigious jazz clubs. I would say this would be worth at auction between £5,000 and £6,000. It's about all of the little details in these kinds of pieces, and this is filled with such intricate beading. Okay, let's have a look at the next piece. the glitz and glamour started coming into jewelry design, and this just, it's the ultimate glamorous necklace. Very classy and elegant. So I would definitely say that this is 1930s. It was the glamour of Hollywood that started to bring this into fashion. The actresses wearing these kinds of pieces in the movies inspired other women to purchase these kinds of things for dinner parties and for balls and such. I think this is a very valuable piece. I mean, it's hard to value it. I know that it has sentimental value, but I would say that this could go for around £14,000 to £15,000 at auction. Just for the condition it's in, it hasn't lost any of the gemstones, which is obviously important. As things age, you sometimes lose that, but this is in perfect condition. So, beautiful. Next we have a little lipstick case. Now, I haven't seen one of these in years. It's beautiful. It's a silver lipstick case. Has this very unusual, like, marbling going around the top, and a flower that's filled with gemstones and rhinestones. Now, you've brought this in, claiming that it's Marilyn Monroe's, yes. Now, I don't want to know how much you paid for this, because I'm guessing it was a lot, and I don't want to ruin your hopes and dreams, but let me get my little tracing tool. Going around the edge of the flower design, I can see that it's glued on. Now, it is true that Marilyn Monroe had a case exactly like this. It was in 1946 that she took it right early in her career to an event, but I have reason to believe that this is not the original lipstick case. Just open this up and have a look. There's a mirror and velvet inside. It's a beautiful replica, but unfortunately it is worth just £4.99 at auction.
You're awake at last, I see. I was worried I might have taken a little more than you could handle. Thankfully, it seems you're quite alright for the moment. That's good. I was hoping for a little conversation before I dined. Perhaps you would indulge me in that small pleasure. Conversation around here is somewhat scarce. So, before you ask, yes, I am in fact a vampire, as you might say. Of course, I was one of the first in Great Britain. A funny old tale, in fact. For you see, I was once like you. I was mortal. I was restless. I remember the night of my death quite well. You see, I was born in Whitby, and I in fact died in Whitby. I remember the night of my death. I remember it was a cool night, and I lay restless in my bed, tossing and turning. Sleep seemed to elude me, and for some reason I was taken by the night. I was out walking, and a thick fog rolled in. I remember seeing a young, beautiful lady walking through the night. She was alone and almost lost, but not quite. I called to her through the darkness. I'm sure she heard me, for I was no more than a few meters away, but she kept on walking. I could not understand why she was out there at such a late hour, and to what end was she walking to. I almost went to stop her until I saw a dark figure. I was waiting for her beside a bench, and all I remember is those burning eyes. I'm afraid I can't quite remember what happened after that. I remember suddenly feeling cold, suddenly feeling the hairs on the back of my neck stand. I remember looking to the sky through the dark fog and watching as it cleared I saw the stars. And then I saw those burning eyes. Eyes that would make any mortal tremble, but now I obey those eyes. You see, that night my master chose to grant me with a gift, a curse, as you might say. And from that night onwards I have craved nothing more than blood, but I'm sure you already know that. For you see, there is something in this life force, this giver of life. The warmth is what attracts me most, for I am always cold. Ever since that night I am cold, and I shall never feel the warmth of flesh again, other than, of course, that of others, you know. Now, I must say I have somewhat enjoyed your company. Normally my nights are rather more empty, some might say. But you seem somewhat enchanted by my tale, my story. Do not worry, you are perfectly fine. In fact, I might just say you could be free to go, on the condition that perhaps you would entertain me once more with conversation. Is that something you would do for me? I promise you will be fine, should you accept my offer. Well then, I guess you're free to go. Please collect your things. I put them to one side. And should you happen to forget of our conversation, well then, I assure you, I can find you. Very well. To you.
My dearest friend, I'm
over the moon that you're coming to visit, and I can finally take you on that long promised trip across the British Isles. You deserve this time away, always working so hard. And when you're here, I'm going to treat you. Just so you know, I won't take no for an answer. I've included a map in this letter because a sat-nav can only get you so far, and I do hope the weather is fine when you get here, as you'll have to travel along Billy Bunn's Lane on grey, dreary days like today is when his headless ghost is most seen, and you really don't need that after a long journey. Oh, I know in your last letter you mentioned bringing a gift. That would be wonderful. But please make it one for the small folk rather than me. They'll appreciate that. I'll take you to the oak tree and we can leave it there. Only something simple like cake, honey or bread. You might get to see a brownie or a lubberkin around the house, if you're lucky. The lubberkins are the larger ones, a little more hairy, but both are absolutely fine as long as we're on our best manners. We don't want them leaving. I will warn you now, there have been a spate of boggarts in the area. Ghastly things, and I've still got that problem with a flibbertigibbet. But don't let that put you off. We'll have that sorted in plenty of time. On a brighter note, I found a new chocolate brownie recipe, and I think you'll love it. I make it with milk of oat, our favourite milk, so I'm excited for you to try those. I'm glad you're staying long enough so we can go and see the spring parade. I know you've always wanted to see the May Queen and the Green Man chase away the Snow Queen of winter. The dancers around the maypole are so beautiful. And there's a right ruckus when the Morris dancers start. It's fantastic and you'll enjoy it so much. You mentioned seeing a leprechaun in your last letter. We don't have those here, but hopefully when we take our trip to County Kildare, we can try and sneak up on one of them. I do hope you change your mind about bog snorkeling. Oh, and all that other pond stuff. The last thing we need is you getting in a kerfuffle with the Jenny Green teeth. But we can talk about that more when you're here. Oh, one last thing. I have secured us a giant excursion to Gog, Magog, and the giant of the weekend. My treat. The bedroom is already made up for you. My deepest affections, as always. Swarms.
Welcome to the weather forecast in Great Britain today. My name is Rebecca, and today we're going to be taking a look at the forecast throughout the nation for today. Then we'll be moving on to our on-location correspondent, and lastly finishing with a weekly forecast so that we can find out what this week may bring. So, starting at the top then, up north, as we can see, Scotland can anticipate rain. So it is a forecast for rain today up north. However, looking at the positives, if anybody has any rainy day projects that they have set aside, now would be the perfect opportunity to get those boxed off. So, in Scotland, we can anticipate a lot of people boxing off their rainy day projects. moving slightly down north. This is triggering a thunderstorm periodically throughout the day, which isn't quite unlike most recent weather that we've all experienced this past week or so. However, plus side is that the windstorms have moved on. No more extreme weather. Any thunderstorms forecast further down north are more so just a distant rumbling. So again, the positives are that you can appreciate the sounds in the background should you hear them throughout the day. Seems as we move further down south, the weather actually seems to improve, or so it seems to be the theme of today's forecast. So, winds, which is a natural response to the above rain and thunderstorms up in the north, can be expected on the coastal areas further west. So, western coastal areas anticipate winds, but by no means the stormy winds that we've experienced in Great Britain this past week. I would anticipate that these winds would create any foreclosures or disruption to public transport or services or opening hours or anything like that. It's more so just a calmer version of the more extreme weather that we've been experiencing the past week. Understandably, nearer the sea, coastal areas, the wind, understandably, is going to be more so than other areas. Now, moving to the West and East Midlands, it'll be cloudy the entire day, which again is an improvement from previous weathers. Just cloudy, very static weather, and that's estimated lows of 9 degrees and highs of 14 degrees. So, if you're in the West East Midlands, I think you'll be safe to leave your umbrella at home, if you're feeling lucky, that is. A bit more luck, east-south, you'll experience cloudy and sunny intervals. So, if you're in the southeast, not quite sunbathing weather, because again, throughout the UK, Scotland, Northern Ireland, it's still estimated lows between 9 degrees, highs of 14. However, the east-south can experience some relief with sunny periods throughout the day up until 5 p.m. when the sun will start to set. And then down north, the London area, luckily for any of you, it's forecast to be sunny for the whole day. You'll still need to wrap up warm. However, the sun will be out if you're down south. So that was the forecast for today. We've now got our on-location correspondent to report about the aftermath of last week's storm. Over to you, Michael. Hello, Michael. Seems we're experiencing some slight technical problems there. I'm sure he'll be just fine. Either way, back now to the studio for your weekly forecast. So, it seems though we're only just starting the year, we seem to have had our fair share of extreme weather. However, as you see in the daily forecast, that is expected to subside now, given that today the majority of the nation can expect cloudiness with lows of 8 degrees and highs of 14. Now, good news for anybody planning a long weekend away for Friday, Saturday and Sunday, as it'll be partly sunny, partly cloudy, with highs of 15 degrees and lows of 9, with only 9% of rain. Perfect for any of those outdoor getaways that you may have been planning. It's ideal for a long weekend away. Monday, Tuesday, however, we can expect to be cloudy again, but that's best so that we can get back to our working week and get down to work. Always look at the positives. And then finishing our week with Wednesday, seeing us off with some sun throughout the day. Once again, partly cloudy with periodic sun, lows of 8 degrees and highs of 13 degrees. My name's Rebecca. Thank you once again for joining today, and I'll see you again.
Hello. I hope you're looking after yourself. It's me, it's Cheryl ASMR here for you. How are you? Thank you, WhispersRed, for promoting UK ASMRtists. I am delighted to be included in this epic collaboration. I must mention that I am recovering from tonsillitis currently, so please do forgive me if my voice is not up to scratch. So, to honour the UK theme of this video, I am going to dedicate mine to London. It's where I live and where I grew up. And specifically, it's about the boroughs of London. Now, someone who grew up in London, someone who's moved around London for years and years and years, I didn't even realise there was a borough called until now. Crazy, eh? So maybe you'll learn something as well as me. Train. So if you're not familiar to my channel, you'll know that lots of train sounds come and go, and I just incorporate them into my videos because they are quite relaxing. So I'm going to talk you through all the 32 boroughs of London, and hopefully some of them are trigger words. So sit back, relax, unwind, because this is your time to relax. Okay, so in alphabetical order, not geographical order, I will begin. Barking and Dagenham. Barking and Dagenham. Barnet. 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 Bexley. 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 Brent. 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 Bromley. 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 Relax. Camden. Camden is a famous one. Do you recognise the borough? Camden. 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 Ealing. Ealing. Enfield. Enfield, Ealing and Enfield. Greenwich. Greenwich is awesome, by the way. It has a big park with amazing views of the city. And it has a planetarium. Greenwich. Hackney is where all the cool hipsters live at the moment. Hackney. Hammersmith and Fulham. Hammersmith and Fulham. Hammersmith and Fulham. Hammersmith and Fulham. Haringey. 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 Haringey.
Southwark, Sutton, 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 Tower Hamlets, Tower Hamlets, Tower Hamlets, Tower Hamlets, Waltham Forest, Wandsworth, 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 and last but not least is Westminster. Westminster. Now you may ask, where is the City of London in all of this? But the City of London is not actually a borough. Apparently, it's its own, entity. Anyway, I hope you found that tingly and informative. And I do hope that you're looking after yourself, and I wish you the most gorgeous sleep ever. Good night.
Hello everybody, it's me, Jodie Marie. I am going to
everyone, this is me, AsmrMachine, as many of you may or may not know me as, and I'm back again with another video, but this time not a video, not on my own channel, but part of this wonderful collaboration, as you are now watching. I've actually known Emma WhispersRed for quite some time, and she's actually one of the several people who encouraged me to start a channel all those many years ago. 6.5, it's a while ago now. I'm not sure exactly how long, but it's a while ago. But anyway, enough rambling from me, and I'm going to do a little video which I haven't rehearsed or tested prior, but let's hope that it goes all well. Now, I'm going to do this video with the minimal of props, and yeah, see how it goes. This is a pair of pliers. These are small electronic components known as resistors. But I'm not going to be using them for their intended purpose. I'm going to be using them for a kind of very basic form of artwork. So here we go. Get rid of that crinkly plastic bag. I know some ASMR videos use crinkly plastic bags, but no, I'll chuck that over there for now. So, ooh. Okay. So, ooh. So what we're going to do. This may look like a complete mumbo jumbo at the moment, nothing's really come of it, but don't you worry, just you wait, you'll see what this is in the end. So what we do, bunch 3 of the leads together like that, twist them round, and go. Ooh. And then we twist those 2 round again. I was actually going to film this video earlier in the day, but I decided not to because there was too much background noise coming from elsewhere within the house and outside. So I decided to film it now, which is about 1 in the morning. So, ooh, that's a bit too loud. Might have to edit that as well, and that. Leave that one out for now. Now we're going to start on the second one of these. Don't you worry. Ooh. Spin, spin, spin. There we go. I'm not sure, I've lost count of how many I've strung together here, but you know, there's all reason and logic behind. No, we're going to need 1 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That should be enough. try and clip this as quietly as I can, because every time I do it, it seems to be horrifically noisy, and it's going to come out really bad on the video. But I'm going to try and do this quietly. Okay. Well, that wasn't completely quiet, but it was quieter, I'd say. Oh, that was right. That was alright as well. Ooh, I think I finally figured out how to clip these things quietly. There we go. Gonna put that to one side. There we go. There we go. Okay, so clip, clip, clip. That is going to fall to pieces the moment I take my finger off. Now, the fourth and final one of these that I'm now going to make. Firstly, we're going to bring 3 of them in a formation like that. Also, if anyone who's watching this has any ideas about what videos they want me to make next, let me know, because I'm always stumped for ideas. Just before I started filming this video, one of the lights that I'm using was starting to make a weird kind of hot sort of smell. I don't know if you know what I mean, but it's, you know, hot enamel paint, that's what the smell was. And it's, yeah, it's not, I wouldn't say it's a bad smell, but it's something, the sort of smell that makes you immediately think, okay, something's a little bit wrong here. But I did nothing about it. The smell has now gone away. The light is still on, just up there behind the camera, and all now seems to be okay. Okay, so we've got more clipping to do now. Shall I do it loudly or shall I do it quietly? Shall I do it loudly like that? I'm not sure. And when we do it quietly, we do it quietly. As I said earlier, this is something that I've not tried before. A lot of videos, I experimented with them prior to check that it's all going to work fine, reasonably fine when it comes down to filming a video. But this one, I've not done that. I have no idea how it's going to look. I have no idea how it's going to turn out. So when I do the big reveal in probably about a minute or so, I'm going to be just as surprised as you. Clip, clip, clip. Okay, so firstly what I'm going to do, clear all these off clippings from the filming table, because, yeah, actually I don't know, what do you think of that sound? Tiny pieces of metal on a laminated wooden surface. Making a mess just for the sake of producing ASMR. But you know what? If people like those sounds, then it's worth it. Get rid of that. Well, actually, that can stay there. That can stay there. So, the big reveal.
A. Come on. That's the S. M. Yeah, you can probably see what it's going to be now. ASMR. Now, how many of those resistors did I use? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. And that was from a bag of 100, so there we go. I hope you like this video, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the contributions to this collaboration project, and yeah, I shall see you guys hopefully sometime in the future, sometime soon, hopefully not too long, but yeah, there we go. Bye bye for now.
Us Brits do love a cuppa, don't we? Cheers. Okay. So, I always find it quite amusing when people say that they want to hear a British accent, or are you British? Do you have a British accent? Do you whatever? There are so many different British accents out there, and I'm going to demonstrate a few, okay? Just bear in mind, okay, please, that I cannot hold up a British accent. No, I can because I am British. I cannot hold up a different accent for a long period of time, so I apologise if I wane off into another accent. So just bear with. Okay. So, my favourite accent to do has to be Scottish. It's just so, it can sound so, no, that, it can sound so aggressive sometimes, and like, so yeah, if I was doing a voiceover for someone and they were like, oh, we would like a British accent, and I came out with this, like, do you think they'd be a little bit shocked, or do you think they'd be like, oh, that's not kind of what we had in mind? But at the end of the day, like, you said British accent, that covers a massive scope of like different dialects. Oh, getting a dead leg already. I'm sorry, this is covering all my face up. Lucky for you. So yeah, anyway, so like, it does make me laugh a little bit. I'm gonna sit on a cushion. I can't speak. Okay.
But like, yeah, so that's Scottish, I think. It might not be Scottish, it might be something completely and utterly ridiculous. Or, yeah, when people do, so say an American person or whatever does a British accent, I can't really put my finger on whether they are trying to be posh. So, like, yeah, darling, so I am from Britain and I am a British person. Of course, there are British people that speak like this, very upper class, very posh, very, like, well spoken. But then, like, you got the Cockney that I think people think is British and they just sort of speak like this for, like, whatever. And like the Essex girl, like, oh my god, oh my days, like, I'm so stereotyping right now, but that is the point of this, really, innit? Is just being really stereotypical and like just completely like, yeah, right. Anyway, so then you've got a little bit of Liverpool. So I really, for some reason, really enjoy doing this accent because I remember doing one of my old videos when I did, I think I'm drifting into something else, when I did an accents one, and I got a little bit angry, not really, but like pretend angry at motorcyclists going past, and people found it hilarious. I think it's just when Liverpudlians or whatever just get a little bit angry. I think it sounds quite funny. Funny. I love saying funny. 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 But anyway, and then there's Manchester, Mancunian, whatever. I don't actually know how to do this one. Yeah. But I don't know how I'm talking right now. Am I actually speaking in a Manchester accent or am I actually just doing a bit of a less exaggerated Liverpudlian one? Because I can't really tell. And then you've got Birmingham, so a bit of a Brummy accent, and I don't actually know what the difference is. I guess it's a little more, but now I just sound like I'm going into Welsh a little bit, so I don't really know what is going on, but Welsh accent's quite nice because everyone that I've heard seems to speak quite nice. Like, all the words are very deliberate, they're very soft and very like delicate and very pleasant to hear to the ear, and I really like hearing it. But I don't really know actually what I'm doing, but what other ones have you got? I'm trying to think now. You top of the morning to you. I haven't done Northern Ireland. Now, see, I'm a bit ashamed of myself because I can't really do a Northern Ireland or Irish at all accent very well, and I don't even know if this is a Northern Ireland or what. But my grandmother was Irish, so I feel like I'm a little bit like I'm not really doing it justice. So I wonder if I can do it better when I'm whispering. No, I'm just going back to Welsh again. What is happening to me? But anyway, so I'm trying to speak Irish right now, and it's not really going very well. It's not really going to what I'd call my plan, but I'm just going back to Welsh again. Can't do this. Oh, and then you've got like what people would say my accent is. Obviously it's not, but so like I'm from Norfolk, and I think this is very similar to Somerset or something, but they always reckon that I live on a farm, or that I'm a pig or something living on a farm. Do you know what I mean? But like, I can't stick to it. I'm going back to Welsh again. No, actually, I'm from Liverpool now, all of a sudden. Right, my mum talks a little bit like this with some words. Like, for example, when she says Jackie, she doesn't say Jackie, it's Jackie. So all of a sudden, Jackie's name is spelt J-A-A-A-A-A-A-A-A-A-G-I-E or G-G-I-E. And it's very interesting, actually. Very strange, because I do get caught out on some words as well. So I've been known to say computer. I've also been known to say tratter. That's just typical though, isn't it? And yeah, it's not really ideal when you're trying to sort of not sound like a farmer. Don't know. But yeah, so there are many, 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 many different accents. This is a nice mug, isn't it? My best friend got me this for Christmas. I do like it. Oh yes, my friend in the background wants a bit of attention. Going with the old British theme, and I also have my bow in my hair. This is actually a bow tie that I cut the tie off and just... Sorry, I had a bit of a gassage. And just clipped it in my hair. My parents got me this little guy when they went to London. I've only ever been to London once, and I'm not a huge fan of the proper inner hustling and bustling, do you know what I mean? I'm just a girl from a small area in the UK where there aren't many people. It's very quiet, and that's what I like. But London does have some amazing sights and history and everything. But we did the typical touristy things, which I think might be why I didn't like it that much. Madame Tussauds. It's got a lot of beans in his bottom. Madame Tussauds and the London Dungeon, which was cool to be fair, and the London Eye, and just walking around. I liked London itself, but I'm just not good with lots of people. So if it was empty, I'd love it. But I think I've lived a sheltered life, that's the issue. Yes, I am smacking his buttocks. But that's where all the good sounds are. So yeah, he is very sweet. Got a little flag on his foot. Can I just say, the wind here, I think I said it at the start of the video, but it is getting rather aggressive. Apparently it's Storm Dennis coming to cause havoc, wreak havoc. Dennis the Menace. Anyway, thank you for taking the time to watch my segment. I hope I haven't bored you, and yeah, anyway, so in case you don't know who I am Crazy. It's nice to meet you. Oh, it's a little flay. Anyway, bye bye.
How are you feeling? A bit better? Good. I am so glad that we managed to find that generator light. I know. No, I completely understand. Power cuts can be really, really scary, especially when they're safe with me, and we will face this evening together. Don't worry, I will look after you. Well, that reminds me, actually, I have got an extra little candle here. I know that we have got quite a few burning around the room, but I have just got this lovely little one for us to enjoy, and it is scented. It is scented as a snowflake cookie. A snowflake cookie. So if you ever wondered what a snowflake cookie smelled like, there you go. It smells really nice and sweet, and hopefully will give us some memories of Christmas. So let me just take a second to light it up. Let me just, there we go. There we go, lovely. And I'm just going to pop that on the cabinet just behind us there so we can enjoy the lovely smell. Good. So what I thought we could do this evening is just take some time to kind of chill out, relax, take our mind off of the storm outside and the wet, horrible rain. I know it seems crazy, we have had so many storms already, and 2020 has only, been here for 2 months, so it's not a very good start, but we are in Britain and rain is kind of our thing, so but yeah, no, it will all be okay. So what I thought we could do was just have a little bit of a chilled evening. I thought I could pamper you a little bit just to kind of make sure you're nice and relaxed and hopefully can drift off to sleep, because if we both get to sleep early, when we wake up the storm would have passed and the sky will be clear and it will be a lovely new day, and hopefully we'll have our power back. How does that sound? Good. So the first thing that I wanted to do is just make you a cup of tea, because honestly, what can't be solved by a lovely cup of tea? So here I've just brought up some of my favourite tea bags, and it is green tea, and I do find that green tea is really nice and relaxing. I find it really kind of calms me down, and I feel like it really kind of warms me up from the inside. So I thought I would make you a nice cup. I've just got you a little mug here, a little mug that has lots of lovely butterflies on it, so we can sit and dream of spring in this horrible storm. So I've just got one of the lovely little tea bags, the lovely little tea bags, the lovely little tea bags, and I'm just going to pop that in the mug. And luckily I remembered to boil some water on the stove, so although we don't have a kettle, we will still have some hot water. So let me just pour this in. Lovely, lovely hot tea. Lovely hot tea. So this will be super hot, so I will just pop this on the side so it can cool down a little bit before you take a sip. But what I thought we could do is just do a little bit of personal attention. I find it really nice and soothing when people brush my hair, or I brush my face with a makeup brush. soft, isn't it? Yeah. Brush your face like that. Just brush your face just a little bit. I can see that your eyes are getting heavier. It makes me quite sleepy, to be honest. Doing it is very rhythmatic, and it does make me feel really nice and sleepy. Sleepy. Dude, just really nice. And sleepy. I did also bring up a hairbrush so we could brush through your lovely long locks if you wanted. Yeah, okay. So let me just take some of your lovely long locks and I'll just slowly brush through them like that. Brush through them. Just brush through them. Is it making you sleepy? Good. It's making me quite sleepy too, just brushing through like that. Brushing through. Would you like a sip of your tea now? Yeah, okay. Let me just get it. It is still quite warm, so just be careful when you take a sip. Just be careful. Thank you. Okay. And I'll just put that right there next to you so you can have some more if you want it. Okay. Are you feeling a little bit more relaxed? Good, I'm glad. I can see that your eyes are getting really heavy. So just lay down and close your eyes. And I promise by the morning the storm would have passed. Good night.
Hello. Sorry I'm late. I was stuck in a queue, and then this terrible weather that we're having right now. It was so windy. So sorry. Apologies. I'm Ruby Poppins. Ruby True. Mary Poppins. And I am here today to tell you all about life of being a Brit. So, in true British fashion, we have to start with a cup of tea. Now, you may think you know how to make a cup of tea, but I assure you, you don't, my dear. You do not know how to make a proper cup of tea. This is almost a British cult-like practice, and if you get it wrong, there's consequences. You'll be fine. So, you may have heard all about the debates of what goes first, the milk, the tea. You know, we've all thought about this, and I'm here to show you how to make a proper cup of tea. So do not worry. You will not be sacrificed to the tea gods. Let's take a look. and see if I have everything that's needed for a proper British cup of tea. Oh, there we go. We have tea. Now this is a Twinings English breakfast tea. You can also use any other brands, peachy tips, Yorkshire tea, just a black tea. I apparently can't get into my tea. There we go. Now, this is a loose leaf tea. But a good old tea bag will work just as well. It smells divine. Okay, we have tea. I guess the next thing we need is a teapot. Let me check in my bag. Look at what we have. A teapot. Also, we need a teacup. I just so happen to have a teacup. Who'd have thought it? Well, I am Mary Poppins. I do have everything in my bag. Okay. And the last things we need are milk. And you can use any milk, but I choose to use coconut milk and, as the song says, a little bit of sugar. Spoonful of sugar is sometimes used in a cup of tea to sweeten it up. So now we have most of the key ingredients. I get to say that very British phrase, I'll pop the kettle on. Just a sec. I will find it in just a second. A kettle. Now, we have kettles that plug into the wall here. Isn't technology great? And I'm going to add some tea leaves into my teapot and hot water from my kettle. It must be boiling hot. I think that is a sufficient amount of tea. And then to add our boiling water. And we let that brew. I'll pop it down here on my mat and pop the lid on to keep the heat in. Now, while that's brewing, would you like a snack? Now, would you like chips? I'm not talking about these kinds of chips. These are not chips. Although I've been told many times that these are chips. In the UK, you will find that these are chips. Chips. These are chips. Crisps. Chips. Okay, well, help yourself to your crisp or a chip. I'm glad we've got that sorted. It's one of those things that's been bothering me for so long, and I just had to tell you all, just so you never embarrassed yourselves, in the fish and chip shop thinking that you're going to get a bag of chips. So now that our tea is brewed, it is ready to pour out. And this is where you have to pay close attention. You get the cup, you pour in the tea, then you add the milk. And I know to some people adding milk to tea may seem rather strange, but that is just how we do it. I personally like my tea to be the colour of He-Man. Oh, I need a spoon. I'm pretty sure I've got one of those in my bag. Let me take a look. There we go. A teaspoon. We stir our tea, mix the milk in. Needs a little bit more milk. And perfect. We have a cup of tea. Now this is how I would take my tea. A little bit of milk, a little bit of black tea, perfect. But some of you may find you like to sweeten your tea with some sugar. Maybe just 1 or 2 teaspoons of sugar, just to add a little sweetness to your tea and help the medicine go down. try some? Here we go. There you go. What do you think? Isn't it just the best? Now, in England, the rules are you have to have a cup of tea before you leave the house. When you enter back into the house, you have to have a cup of tea when something bad happens, when something great happens, when you're tired, when you're happy. You just pop the kettle on. If you just pop the kettle on at any point, at any punctuation point in the day, you will fit right in. Oh, I brought you a gift. Let me have a look. It might be deep in the bottom of my bag. I bought you some flowers. I saw them in the shop and I thought they are just beautiful, and I thought they might brighten your day. I hope you like them. We have some roses and some thistles and also some lavender in there. Absolutely beautiful. I'll pop them over here for you. I'm so glad that we had to meet today, and we've been able to sort out how to make tea. And crisps and chips. I think that's pretty much everything you need to know. Oh, I mentioned the weather a lot. And if you see a queue, you just stand in it. If you're going to be late, you just stand in it. It doesn't matter. I think that's all we needed to know. The weather, queuing, tea, chips, crisps. I think we're all tickety-boo. So, I will bid ye farewell. I've been Ruby Poppins, and you've been amazing. I will see you all soon. Ta-ra. Cheerio. Goodbye.
Hi guys. Hi. This is SoulStar NeeneeASMR.
this as well. So I know the theme is loosely based on the UK, and I'm from England, and I had the honour of visiting Stonehenge towards the end of last year, and I went and I met a couple other ASMRtists, Periwinkle Rose ASMR and Tira Adeguayo. I probably said that wrong. Anyway, so considering that I love Stonehenge anyway, and to me it is both to do with England and ASMR, I thought I'd spend my few minutes whispering from ear to ear some facts about Stonehenge. So I have skimmed them, so I know what's coming up, but I haven't read them in depth because I thought it might be more fun to sort of explore this together. So here we go. It's estimated that there were around 4,000 stone circles in the British Isles and Brittany at one time. The monuments were built between 3,300 to 900 BCE. Around two-thirds of them have since been destroyed, and they were mainly built in the Highland areas of Scotland, the English Lake District, the southwest of England, which is where Stonehenge is, and the north and southwest of Ireland. The biggest is Avebury. Number 2. The monument was a 1,500-year building project. It started out as a circular earthwork enclosure constructed in around 3000 BC. It started as a ditch and excavated chalk piled up on a bank to form a bank, rather. Inside were placed 56 timber or stone posts to form a ring. The site would undergo many changes, perhaps the biggest being in around 2,500 BC, when bigger stones were brought to the site. Number 3. The original monument served as a burial site. Although there is no full agreement on the overall purpose, they have found cremated remains of at least 64 Neolithic people. I won't go too much detail because I don't want to take too much time. 4. Some of the stones used to build Stonehenge were transported more than 150 Spinal Tap performed a song. 7. People wrongly used to believe that Stonehenge was built by Druids. And actually I did too, so that's really interesting. Apparently in the 17th century, a man, John Aubrey, proposed that Stonehenge was constructed by Celtic high priests known as Druids, but in fact radiocarbon dating shows Stonehenge had existed at the site for more than 1,000 years before the Celts moved into the area, ruling out the role of ancient Druids. Number 8. Stonehenge might have marked the unification of Britain. Apparently, a tipping point when people came together culturally and politically, which explains how a massive project like that could have been completed and how the blue stone could be transported all the way from Wales. Number 9. There are numerous Stonehenge replicas around the world. Apparently there's one in the USA to commemorate the victims of World War One, and Australia has the Esperance Stonehenge, which is a full-sized copy. There is also one in Carhenge, Nebraska, USA, which uses old cars rather than stones to create the trillets. And finally, number 10. Stonehenge draws more than 1.5 million visitors each year and is considered to be one of the most must-see monuments in the world. In 2013, a visitor centre was built at the cost of £27 million, which I have visited myself. I hope that you found these Stonehenge facts interesting.